Hi, I am Savaya, lecturer in physics, working in Vignan institutions. In the previous sessions, I explained the concepts, construction, working principles of the Wheatstone bridge, meter bridge, and potentiometer. In this session, I am going to explain some problems to face the competitive examinations like JEE Mains, NEET, and also the state level examinations. So in the today's session, I am going to explain the problems in the topics of Wheatstone bridge, meter bridge, and potentiometer. Here, before going to explain the problems in each and every topic, I am going to explain the concepts in brief, then followed by the problems. Then you are able to recall the concepts quickly for the solving of the problems. So the contents of this today's video are the explanation of the concepts in brief followed by the problems in the topics of Wheatstone bridge, meter bridge, and potentiometer. First come to the Wheatstone bridge. So look at the screen. You know that is the Wheatstone bridge, which consists of 4 resistors P, Q, R, S. Suppose these are the points A, B, C, D. Different currents are passing through the different branches. If suppose the current passing through the galvanometer is equal to 0, that means if there is no deflection, in the galvanometer, or if suppose the potential at point B is equal to the potential at point D, it means if the current passing through the galvanometer is equal to 0, or if the galvanometer shows no deflection, or if the potential at these 2 points B and D are same, then we can say that the bridge is balanced. The bridge is balanced. Under the balancing conditions, a balancing condition is derived, and that balancing condition gives the relationship between the 4 resistors used in the 4 ohms. That relation is P by Q is equal to R by S. Here P, Q, R, S are the resistance values used in the 4 ohms. Sometimes in the problems, different notations may be given. R1, R2, R3, R4 values may be given, or the positions of the P, Q, R, S may be chosen in the different ways. So remember, under the balancing conditions, the ratio of the resistances in the left arm to the right arm in the upper side of the bridge is equal to the ratio of the resistance in the left arm to the right arm in the lower side of the Wheatstone bridge. Or another way of remembering this balancing condition is the product of the resistances in the 2 opposite arms are equal. It means PS is equal to QR. This is the another way of writing the balancing condition of the Wheatstone bridge. Now, if you see the problems given in the previous examinations, so single resistors may be given in the ohms, or sometimes the series combination or the parallel combination of the resistances may be chosen in the ohms of the Wheatstone bridge. Now we are going to discuss different models which are in the standards of the previous IIT JEE Mains examinations. For that, so see the problem. 4 resistors P, Q, R and X formed a Wheatstone bridge. See, 4 resistors P, Q, R and X formed a Wheatstone bridge. The bridge is balanced when R is equal to 100 ohms. If PQ are interchanged, the bridge is balanced for R is equal to 121 ohms. The value of X is dash. This is the question. So for that, I am going to draw the Wheatstone bridge. Look at the screen. So these are the P, Q, R, X values. So when R is equal to 100 ohms, it is given that the bridge is balanced. So under the balancing conditions, we can write P by Q is equal to R by X. From this we can write P by Q is equal to 100 by X. Let it be the equation number 1 for the first case of the given Wheatstone bridge. Now in the second case, what happened? P and Q are interchanged. For that, see the Wheatstone bridge with interchanging of PQ resistors. Now here these are PQ, now these are PQ values in the second case. Here also the bridge is balanced for R is equal to 121 ohms. So again write down the balancing condition. It becomes Q by P is equal to 121 by X. From this, by taking the reciprocals, we can write it as P by Q is equal to X by 121. Let it be equation number 2. So from equations 1 and 2, the left hand side is same, so that we can equate the right hand sides also. From that we have X by 121 is equal to 100 by X. So by taking cross multiplication, we have X square is equal to 12100. From this we have X is equal to 110 ohms. So like this, we can solve the problem by applying the balancing condition 2 times for the 2 cases. So for the initial conditions, we apply the balancing conditions once, and after interchanging the resistance values, we apply the balancing condition again, and from the 2 equations, we solve the problem for finding of X value. That X is 110 ohms. Okay? Okay, now come to the another problem. So in the given circuit, P is equal to 10 ohms, Q is equal to 9 ohms, R is equal to 4 ohms, and S is equal to 6 ohms. If no current flows through the galvanometer, the value of X in the given circuit is dash. See here, in 3 arms, single resistors are given, but in 1 arm, the parallel combination of the 2 resistors are given. Now, here we are going to apply the balancing condition to determine the X value. For that, what are the values given? Here, P is equal to 10 ohms, Q is equal to 9 ohms, R is equal to 4 ohms, and S is equal to 6 ohms. So these are the given resistance values. It is given that no current flows through the galvanometer. It means that the Wheatstone bridge is under balancing condition. We know that whenever the Wheatstone bridge is in the balancing condition, the resistance of this arm divided by this arm is equal to the resistance of this arm divided by this arm. So that what can we write? Here for the first arm, what is the effective resistance? Here the 2 resistors are in parallel combination. The effective resistance of the parallel combination is given by R parallel is equal to R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. R parallel is equal to R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Using this formula, we have XP divided by X plus. This is the resistance in the first term divided by Q is equal to R by S. Now by substituting P, Q, R, S values, we can find out X value. By taking this Q to that side and substituting the values, we have 10x divided by x plus 10 is equal to, by taking Q that side, we have 9 into 4 divided by 6. So these 9 4s are 36. 36 by 6 is equal to 6. Now by cross multiplying, we have 10x is equal to 6x plus 10. By taking this 6x to this side, we have, no, this is 60. By taking the 6x to the side, we have 10x minus 6x is equal to 60. That means 4x is equal to 60. From this we have x is equal to 60 by 4, that is equal to 15 ohms. So here 3 resistors are given in the 3 ohms, but the combination of 2 resistors is given in 1 ohm. The effective resistance value of the ohm is taken into the consideration while applying the Wheatstone bridge. Right? This is the second problem. Now another problem. Resistances P, Q, R and S of values 2 ohms, 3 ohms, 2 ohms and 4 ohms form a Wheatstone bridge. The resistance to be connected to S to have the bridge balanced is dash. So here 4 resistance values are given which are connected in the 4 ohms of the Wheatstone bridge like this. Now the values are given as 2 ohms, 3 ohms, 2 ohms and 4 ohms. So look at the diagram. Is the bridge balanced for the given values? So 2 by 3 is equal to 2 by 4. Is the balancing condition satisfied? No. The balancing condition is not satisfied, so that for the given resistance values, the bridge is not balanced. In the problem, it is asked that the resistance to be connected to S to have the bridge balanced is dash. That means for the balancing of this bridge, instead of S, there may be some other value in the circuit. Let it be taken as S dash for the balancing of the Wheatstone bridge. If S dash is the resistance required in the 4th ohm of the Wheatstone bridge under the balancing condition, we can write the balancing condition as P by Q is equal to R by S dash. So by substituting the given values of P, Q, R, we can find out S dash value. For S dash is equal to RQ divided by P, that is equal to 2 into 3 divided by 2. This is equal to 3 ohms. That means instead of 4 ohms, if there is 3 ohms, then the bridge is balanced. Now the question is, to balance the bridge, what resistance to be connected to S? That is the question. So the required resistance is 3 ohms, the connecting resistance is 4 ohms. If suppose we connect some resistance in series with the 4 ohms resistance, the effective resistance value will be increased. But here the required resistance value is 3 ohms. That's why, so for that achievement of the 3 ohms, we should not connect any resistance in the series, so that these two options are not possible. Now the required resistance is 3 ohms, the available resistance is 4 ohms, so that by connecting another resistance parallel to this, we will get the required resistance of 3 ohms. For that already we know that R parallel is equal to R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So here what is the required resistance? The required resistance is 3 ohms is equal to the already available resistance is 4 ohms. Let the unknown resistance required is X divided by 4 plus X. By cross multiplying we have 4X is equal to 12 plus 3X. So X is equal to 12 ohms. So that to balance the bridge, in addition to the 4 ohms resistance in the fourth term, we have to connect a resistance of 12 ohms parallel to the S value. That's why here how much resistance is required and whether it has to be connected either in the series combination or in the parallel combination, both are important. If suppose the resistance needed is more than the given resistance value, then we have to connect a series resistance to achieve that molar value. If the required resistance is less than the given resistance of the bridge, to reduce that resistance value we have to connect a resistance in parallel. That's why keep that point in mind. By that let us solve the problem for the getting of the unknown resistance to be connected across the fourth arm of the bridge. Okay? So this is actually 12 ohms parallel, right? Come to the next problem. For what value of unknown resistance X, the potential difference between B and D will be 0 in the arrangement shown in the figure. See here a Wheatstone bridge is given. In one arm, 2 resistors are in series combination. In this arm, 2 resistors are in parallel. In this also 2 resistors are in parallel, and here 2 resistors are in series combination. That means any one of the arms single resistance value is not given. Either the series combination or the parallel combination of the resistors are chosen in the 4 arms. Now to balance the bridge, we have to find out this X value. See here, while we are studying the problems, in one problem it is mentioned that the current passing through the galvanometer is 0. In the second problem it is mentioned that there is no deflection in the galvanometer. In this problem it is mentioned that B and D are at same potential or the potential difference is 0. Whatever the information given, that information is related to the balancing condition of the Wheatstone bridge. Now here by applying the balancing condition of the Wheatstone bridge, we can find out the X value. For that, effective resistance in the first term, 6 and 6 are in series. Already we know that R series is equal to R1 plus R2 and R parallel is equal to R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Now in the first term, 6 ohm and 6 ohm are in series, so that the effective resistance is equal to 12 divided by, here 1 ohm and 1 ohm are in parallel. The effective resistance is 1 into 1 divided by 1 plus 1, that is equal to 0.5 is equal to the effective resistance in this arm is X plus 8, whereas the effective resistance in this arm is 1 into 1 by 1 plus 1, that is equal to 0.5. Okay, 0.5, 0.5 are cancelled, and we have X plus 8 is equal to 12. From this we have X is equal to 4. That's why in the problems, combination of the resistors may be involved, so that we have to find out the effective resistance value in the term. After that, by applying the balancing condition of the Wheatstone bridge, we can solve the problem for getting the answers. Okay? Right. Now come to the second topic of today's session, that is the Meter bridge. So look at the screen what we studied in the Meter bridge. So let us recall the concept of the Meter bridge. This Meter bridge is the practical application of the Wheatstone bridge. Whenever the current passing through the galvanometer is 0, then the Meter bridge is said to be balanced. Under the balancing conditions, see, the jockey divides the wire into the two portions, AD portion and DB portion. This is acting as one resistor and this is acting as another resistor, so that the Meter bridge forms a Wheatstone bridge. And if we write down the balancing condition of the Meter bridge, we have R by S is equal to RAD divided by RDB. This RAD and RDB are the resistances offered by the AD portion and DB portion of the wire. Now, how to get that RAD value and RDB value? Generally, when we are doing the problems in the standard of the board examinations, the Meter bridge wire may be having a uniform area of cross section. And if suppose rho is the resistance per unit length, rho is the resistance per unit length, and write it as the resistance of the RAD portion is equal to rho L, and the resistance of the DB portion is given by rho of 100 minus L. Why? Because the total length of the wire is 100 centimeters. If this is L, this is 100 minus L. By substituting this RAD value, RDB value, in that equation we have R by S is equal to L by 100 minus L. Generally, this equation is taken as the equation for the solving of the problems under the balancing conditions of the Meter bridge. But if we go to the problems in the higher standard, if suppose we see the problems in the JE standard, the Meter bridge wire non-uniform area of the cross section. The area of the cross section may be non-uniform. The area of the cross section may be non-uniform, and the resistance of the wire may depend on L. In this case, simply RAD is equal to rho L, RDB is equal to rho of 100 minus L should not be used. In such cases, using the concept of the integration, we have to find out the resistance of the AD portion and DB portion of the Meter bridge wire. For that, the resistance of the wire is equal to integral dr between the suitable limits L1 to L2. That means from what end to what end we are measuring the resistance of the wire. By taking that 2 as the limits of the integration, by using the concept of the integration, we have to find out the resistance value for the AD portion and DB portion if the wire is having a non-uniform cross section and the resistance value is varying as a function of L. In that cases, we have to use this concept. This concept is somewhat higher level concept which is used to solve the problems at the standards of the JEE Mains examinations. Okay, so this is the general balancing condition of the meter bridge, and this is the way of solving the problems whenever the wire is having non-uniform area of the cross section. Now using these concepts, I am going to explain some problems related to the meter bridge. Look at the screen. In the meter bridge experiment, the ratio of the left gap resistance to the right gap resistance is 2:3. The balancing length from the left end is dash. See here, the resistance in the left gap is not given, the resistance in the right gap is also not given. But it is given that the ratio of the resistances in the left gap to the right gap is 2:3. For that, look at the screen. So this is the meter bridge circuit, what we studied in our previous session. Here R is the resistance in the left gap, S is the resistance in the right gap. So it is given that the ratio of the resistances in the left gap to the right gap, that is R by S, is equal to 2/3. Now if the bridge is balanced, what is the balancing length from the left end? Usually we measure the balancing length always from the left end, if it is not particularly mentioned in the problem, to measure from the right end. Now the balancing length L is question mark. Already you know that whenever the bridge is under balancing conditions, we can write R by S is equal to L by 100 minus L. By substituting this value, we have 2/3 is equal to L by 100 minus L. By cross multiplying, we have 3L is equal to 200 minus 2L. By taking this 2L to this side, we have 5L is equal to 200. From this L is equal to 200 by 5, that is equal to 40 centimeters. So by applying the balancing condition of the meter bridge, by substituting the ratio of R to S, we obtain the balancing condition of the meter bridge. So the answer is 40 centimeters from the left end, right? Now see another problem. The resistance in the left and right gaps of a balanced meter bridge are R1 and the balancing length is 50 centimeters. If a resistance of 24 ohms is connected in parallel to R2, the balancing length is 70 centimeters. The values of R1 and R2 are dash. Here also we are going to apply the balancing condition of the meter bridge 2 times for the 2 cases. Now look at the screen for the first case. Here resistances R1 and R2 are connected in the left gap and right gap of the meter bridge, and the balancing length is given as 50 centimeters. Now for the given case 1, apply the balancing condition of the meter bridge. What is the balancing condition of the meter bridge? R by S is equal to L by 100 minus L. This is the condition of the meter bridge. Now by applying the values we have R1 by R2 is equal to 50 by 100 minus 50. 100 minus 50 is equal to 50. 50 gets cancelled and we have R1 is equal to R2. Let it be equation number 1. Because here the balancing length is given as 50 centimeters, we get R1 is equal to R2. If the balancing length is other than 50 centimeters, substitute the values, you will get one relation between R1 and R2. Let it be equation number 1. Now, in the second case, what is given? If a resistance of 24 ohms is connected in parallel to R2, see that. Here, in parallel to this R2, a resistance of 24 ohms is connected in the right gap of the meter bridge. Under that conditions, the balancing length is found to be 70 centimeters. Now, for the second case, again apply the balancing condition. We have R1 by what is the resistance in the right gap? These two are in parallel, so that apply that formula R parallel is equal to R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. From that we have 24 into R2 divided by 24 plus R2 is equal to 70 by 100 minus 70, that is equal to 30. Now, by cross multiplying we have 3R1 is equal to 7 into 24 into R2 divided by 24 plus R2. Here, this R1, R2 are cancelled. Why? Because from equation number 1 we have R1 is equal to R2. Now, this 3 cancels 8 times. In 24, so from this we have 24 plus R2 is equal to 7 8s 56. Now by taking this 24 to that side, we have R2 is equal to 56 minus 24, that is equal to 32 ohms. If R2 is equal to 32 ohms, then R1 is also equal to 32 ohms. Why? Because from equation number 1 we have R1 is equal to R2. Now like this, by connecting one resistor either in parallel or in series in the right gap or in the left gap, the effective resistance in one gap may be changed and the second balancing length may be given in the problems. So by applying the balancing condition of the meter bridge 2 times, we get 2 equations. By solving the 2 equations, we will get the unknown resistance values. So this is somewhat standard model which was given many more times in the previous examinations for the state level and also for the national level examinations, right? Now see the another problem. When an unknown resistance and a resistance of 4 ohms are used in the left and right gaps of a meter bridge, the balancing length is 50 centimeters. If a 4 ohm resistance is connected parallel to the resistance to the right gap, the shift in the balancing point is dash. See this problem in the previous case, R1, R2 values are required, whereas here we want to find out the shift in the balancing point. Okay? Now, see the diagram. Now in the first case, a resistance R is connected in the left gap and a resistance 4 ohm is connected in the right gap, and the bridge is balanced at 50 centimeters. So by applying the balancing condition of the meter bridge, we have R by 4 is equal to 50 by 100 minus 50, that is equal to 50. From this we can write the unknown resistance used in the left gap is 4 ohms. Now a 4 ohms resistance is connected parallel to the resistance to the right gap. See, here already there is 4 ohms. In addition to the 4 ohms, 4 more ohms is connected in parallel to the 4 ohms, so that the situation will be like this. Now, because of the connection of the 4 ohms resistor in parallel, the effective resistance is changed. For that new combination, let us determine the new balancing length of the meter bridge. Again, for that I am going to apply the balancing condition, that is the resistance in the left gap R divided by what is the resistance in the right gap? 4 ohms and 4 ohms are in parallel, so that the effective resistance is R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. It means 4 into 4 divided by 4 plus 4 gives 2 ohms is equal to L2 divided by 100 minus L2. Now, by making cross multiplication, we have 2L2 is equal to R into 100. But already you know that R is equal to 4 ohms. So 2L2 is equal to 4 of 100 minus L2. Now 2 is cancelled for 2 times. From this we have L2 is equal to 200 minus 2L2. By taking this 2L2 to this side, we have 3L2 is equal to 200 ohms. 3L2 is equal to 200 centimeters. From this we have L2 is equal to 200 by 3 centimeters. There the problem is not completed. We want to determine the shift in the balancing point. Here the initial balancing point is distance of 50 centimeters. The new balancing point is at a distance of 200 by 3 centimeters, so that there is some shift in the balancing point. So the shift in the balancing point is given by delta L is equal to L2 minus L1. This is equal to 200 by 3 minus 50. By taking LCM and simplify, we get it as delta L is equal to 50 by 3 centimeters. Okay? This is about the calculation of the shift in the balancing point. So if you want to calculate the shift in the balancing point, we should know the initial balancing point and also the final balancing point. Then we have to calculate the shift in the balancing point. Without giving this resistance value, the shift in the balancing point may be given. Shift in the balancing point means the balancing point may be shifted towards left side or towards right side. In which side we have to take that shift. So there must be some clarity for you to identify the shift in the balancing point. For that, if suppose we connect a resistance parallel to the right gap resistance, the effective resistance value decreases. If the effective resistance in the right gap decreases, the balancing length shifts towards right side. Here if suppose we connect a resistance in series, then the effective resistance in the right gap increases. If the effective resistance in the right gap increases, the length of this portion increases, it means the balancing length shifts towards left side. That's why, so if the effective resistance value of the particular gap changes, the corresponding balancing length also changes. By identifying whether the resistance increases or decreases, we have to decide whether the balancing point is shifting towards left side or right side. Then we can solve the problems without getting the confusion. Right? Here the answer is 50 by 3 centimeters towards right side shift. Now come to the another model. In a meter bridge experiment, when a resistance wire is connected in the left gap, the balancing point is found to be at 30 centimeters. When the wire is replaced by another wire, the balancing point is found to be at 60 centimeters. Find the balancing length when the two wires are connected in the series combination. So, for that, see the meter bridge circuit diagram. Here there is a wire of resistance R in the left gap and a standard resistance in the right gap, and the balancing length is found to be at L centimeters. The balancing condition can be written as R by S is equal to L by 100 minus L. This is the balancing condition. Now here, three cases are given in this problem. What are the three cases? When a resistance wire is connected in the left gap, its resistance is not given. Whenever the first wire is connected in the left gap, the balancing point is found to be at 30. Let us assume that the resistance of the first wire is equal to R1. That means in the case 1, when we connect a resistance R1 in the left gap, the balancing point is found to be L1 is equal to 30 centimeters. When the wire is replaced by another wire, the balancing point is found to be at 60 centimeters. Now in the case 2, let us assume that when the resistance of the second wire is R2 is connected in the left gap, the balancing length is found to be L2 is equal to 60 centimeters. Now see the third case. What is the third case? Find the balancing length when the two wires are connected in the series combination. In the third case, the wire which is used in the first case and the second case are connected in the series combination. For that series combination of the two wires in the left gap, we have to find out the effective balancing length value. For that, let us assume that R series is equal to R1 plus R2 is the effective resistance in the left gap in the third case. For that effective resistance, let Ls is the balancing condition, balancing length which is to be determined. R1 is not given, R2 is not given, only L1 is given, L2 is given, and we have to find out the balancing length when both wires are connected in the series combination. For that, I am going to apply balancing condition 3 times for 3 cases. So, from this equation we can write R is equal to SL divided by 100 minus L. So, by applying this equation for the first case, we have R1 is equal to S into L1 by 100 minus L1. For the second case, we have R2 is equal to SL2 divided by 100 minus L2. And for the third case, we have RS is equal to SLS divided by 100 minus LS. So, I apply the balancing condition 3 times for the 3 cases. Here, L1, L2 values are given, we have to find out LS value. So, in L1, L2 values here, I am going to obtain an equation for LS to generalize the problem, and after that I will apply the given L1, L2 values. Okay? Here R1 is equal to SL1 by 100 minus L1, R2 is equal to SL2 by 100 minus L2 and RS is equal to SLS by 100 minus LS. But already we know that this R series is equal to R1 plus R2. Substitute this R series value, R1 value and R2 value in this equation, then it becomes SLS by 100 minus LS is equal to SL1 by 100 minus L1 plus SL2 divided by 100 minus L2. Here SS cancels and LS by 100 minus LS is equal to L1 by 100 minus L1 plus L2 by 100 minus L2. So this is the general formula obtained for the given case. L1, L2 values are given. We want to find out LS value. Now in the problem, L1 is given as 30 centimeters and L2 is given as 60 centimeters. So by substituting the values, we have LS by 100 minus LS is equal to 30 by 70 plus 60 by 40. Now, let us make the mathematical calculations to find the unknown resistance, to find the unknown value of LS. So, after rearranging the terms, after making the mathematical simplification, we have LS is equal to 65.5 centimeters. 65.5 centimeters. Right? So here L1 and L2 are the balancing lengths when two wires are separately connected in the left gap. If the two wires are connected in series in the left gap, the balancing length in the new case is given by LS by 100 minus LS is equal to L1 by 100 minus L1 plus L2 by 100 minus L2. Right? Sometimes the same problem may be given by connecting the two wires parallel to one another in the left gap. In that case, what we have to do? Do the same procedure. In that case, find out R1 value, R2 value and R parallel value in terms of standard resistance and the balancing lengths. Already we know that 1 by R parallel is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. 1 by R1 plus 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. By substituting R parallel value, R1 value, R2 value, and if we rearrange the terms and modify the equation, we have 100 minus L parallel by L parallel is equal to 100 minus L1 by L1 plus 100 minus L2 by L2. Okay? If you are able to remember the formulas, so try to remember these formulas, you can solve the problem in the short span of the time. If suppose the formulas are not memorized to you, and if you are unable to recall the formulas quickly, follow the general procedure, find out R1 value, R2 value, R series or R parallel in terms of the known values, and by substituting the values, we will get the balancing length in the given case. Right? Now come to the last model of the meter bridge. In a meter bridge, the wire of length 1 meter has a non-uniform cross section. It has a non-uniform cross section such that the variation of the resistance R with length L is dr by dl is proportional to 1 by root L. two equal resistances are connected in the left and right gaps as shown in the figure. That is the figure. The galvanometer has a zero deflection when the jockey is at point P. What is the length AP? Here, two equal resistances R and S are connected in the left and the right gaps. This meter bridge wire is having non-uniform cross section, and the resistance value of that wire varies according to the formula dr by dl is proportional to 1 by root L. From this we can write dr by dl is equal to some constant k divided by root L. From this, dr is given by k by root L dl. Now, the resistance of the wire is changing according to the given formula. Now, the bridge is balanced when the jockey touches at point P. Now, we want to find out the length of this AP wire here, which is taken as L. Because here the wire has a non-uniform cross section, we should not apply the formula. What is that formula? R by S is equal to L by 100 minus L to solve the problem. That problem is used only when the wire is having uniform cross section and whenever the resistance per unit length of the wire is same. But here the resistance of the wire is varying with length according to this formula, so that we should not apply the formula R by S is equal to L by 100 minus L. You know that the jockey divides the wire into the two portions. So under the balancing conditions we can write the resistance in the left gap to the right gap R by R. Why? Because the two resistors are given as equal in the given problem, is equal to the resistance portion of the wire divided by the resistance of the PB portion of the wire. Now in this equation here RR cancelled and we have RAP is equal to RPB. Now how to get that resistance of the AP portion and how to get the resistance of the PB portion? That can be determined by using the concept of the integration. We know the dr value, from that we have to obtain the resistance value. For that we have to choose the integration process between the suitable limits. Here what is RAP? This is integral dr. And what are the limits of the integration? Here this is the zero reading of the wire, this is the 100 wire, and this is the point P which is at a length L from the left end of the wire. So that's why the limits of the integration must be taken from 0 to L is equal to RPB, that is integral dr between what limits? Here the PB portion starts at length L and ends at 100 centimeter. That's why the limits of the integration must be taken from L to 100. See, if it is taken as 100, that is in centimeters, you will get the answer in centimeters. If we get the length of the wire, if we take the length of the wire in meters, here we have to substitute this limit as 1 and you will get the answer in the meters. It is up to your choice. You may take that length values either in the centimeters or in the meters. It reflects in your answer. Now, by substituting this dr value in this equation and by applying the proper limits of the integration, we can obtain the balancing length of the meter bridge wire. For that I am going to do the calculations. I am going to substitute this dr value in this equation. From that we have k by root L dl between the limits 0 to L is equal to integral L to 100 k by root L dl. Here kk gets cancelled, and we know that integral 1 by root x dx is equal to 2 root x. So by using that equation, we have 2 root L between the limits 0 to L is equal to 2 root L between the limits L to 100. Here 2 also cancelled, and by substituting the limits we have root L is equal to root 100 minus root L. By taking this root L to this side, we have 2 root L is equal to root 100, that is equal to 10. From this, root L is equal to 5, it means the balancing length L is equal to 25 centimeters. The balance to 25 centimeters. So this is somewhat a different model what we studied, what we learned in the previous problems. It was given in the 2019 JEE Mains examinations. That's why sometimes the wire may be having non-uniform cross section whose resistance value may be a function of length. In such cases, using the concept of the integration, we have to determine the resistance of the two portions of the wire, then we have to solve the problem. Okay, so the answer is the balancing length L is equal to 25 centimeters, what we obtained. Now I am going to the third topic of the today's session, that is the potentiometer. So that is the circuit diagram of the potentiometer. This AC is the potentiometer wire. A battery of EMF B in series with and a rheostat of resistance R. Here B is the EMF and R is the internal resistance of the battery. A rheostat of resistance R is connected in series with the potentiometer wire. Let L is the length of the potentiometer wire and P is the resistance of the potentiometer wire. This part of the circuit is called as the primary circuit. Now, a battery of EMF E in series with a galvanometer and jockey are connected as shown in the circuit. This part is called as the secondary circuit. So corresponding to this potentiometer, we studied some formulas in the previous sessions. The first one is the potential gradient phi is equal to Bp divided by R plus P into L. This potential gradient is nothing but the potential drop across 1 unit length of the potentiometer wire. Okay? And also, if the bridge is balanced for a length of L, then the EMF of the battery connected in the secondary circuit is given by E is equal to phi L, that is equal to Bp L divided by R plus P of L. So this is for potential gradient. This is for the calculation of the unknown EMF connected in the secondary circuit of the potentiometer. Now see another concept. If suppose two cells of EMFs E1 and E2 are connected in the secondary circuit by means of a two-way switch. If suppose the balancing lengths are measured by connecting the batteries separately in the circuit, the ratio of the EMFs are given by E1 by E2 is equal to L1 by L2. Here L1 is the balancing length when first cell of EMF E1 is only connected in the circuit, and L2 is the balancing length when the second cell of EMF E2 is only connected in the circuit. That means here at a time we connect only one cell and the corresponding balancing length is determined, and the ratio of the EMFs can be determined by that formula E1 by E2 is equal to L1 by L2. And see another circuit which is used for the determination of the internal resistance of a cell. If suppose only the cell is connected in the secondary circuit and the balancing length is obtained as L1, And if suppose a resistance R across this cell in the secondary circuit and the balancing length is obtained as L2, then the internal resistance of the battery is given by R is equal to R of L1 minus L2 divided by L2. Here R is the external resistor connected across the battery in the secondary circuit. L1 and L2 are the balancing lengths of the potentiometer when only cell is connected in the circuit and the external resistor R is connected across the cell in the secondary circuit. Now see the last concept. Here we use the two cells in the series combination in the additive nature in the first case, and in the second case we use the again two cells in the series combination but in the opposition method. Now by connecting the two cells in the first case, let L1 is the balancing length. By connecting the cells in the second case, let L2 is the balancing length. Now by calculating the L1, the ratio of the EMFs can be determined by the formula E1 by E2 is equal to L1 plus L2 divided by L1 minus L2. E1 by E2 is equal to L1 plus L2 divided by L1 minus L2. Here this is obtained from E1 plus E2 divided by E1 minus E2 is equal to L1 by L2. By the compound dividend method, if we simplify this equation is modified as E1 by E2 is equal to L1 plus L2 divided by L1 minus L2. Right? So in this case, both the cells are connected at a time. In the first case, they are connecting in the additive. Second case, they are connecting in the opposition nature. In such case, the ratio of the EMFs are given by E1 by E2 is equal to L1 plus L2 divided by L1 minus L2. Based on these concepts, I am going to explain some problems in the potentiometer. See the problem. A 10 meter long wire of resistance 20 ohm is connected in series with a battery of EMF 3 volts of negligible internal resistance and a resistance of 10 ohms. The potential gradient along the wire in volt per meter is dash. So for the problem, just I am going to draw the potentiometer circuit. Here for the wire, what is the length? The length of the wire is equal to 10 meters and the resistance of the wire is equal to 20 meters. Now it is connected in series with a battery of EMF 3 volts, negligible internal resistance, and a resistance of 10 ohms like this. Here the resistance of the rheostat is given as 10 ohms. The EMF of the battery is given, the internal resistance is also given. We want to determine the potential gradient, that means the potential drop per 1 unit length of the wire. How to calculate the potential drop per 1 unit length? The formula for potential gradient is phi is equal to B by R plus P into P by L. This is the formula for the potential gradient. Here let us substitute the given values in this equation. Here the EMF of the battery is equal to 3 volts divided by the internal resistance of the cell is given as 0. Why? Because it is having negligible resistance, plus the series resistance value is 10 ohms, plus the resistance of the potentiometer wire is equal to 20 ohms into 20 divided by the length of the wire is equal to 10 meters. Okay, so it becomes 3 by 30 into 2. Okay, so this is equal to 0.2 volt per meter. Sometimes to confuse you, a battery is connected in the secondary circuit for which the internal resistance may be mentioned in the problem. Remember, In this equation, this R stands for the internal resistance of the battery, which is connected only in the primary circuit, the secondary circuit, right? Now, the potential gradient is found to be 0.2 volt per meter. Now, come to the another problem. The resistance of a potentiometer wire is 10 meter wire long is 10 ohm. It is connected to a cell of EMF 12 volts having a negligible internal resistance through a 30 ohm resistor in series. A cell is balanced by 5 meter long potentiometer wire. The EMF of the cell in volts is dash. So for the circuit, for the problem, see the potentiometer circuit. Here what are given? The resistance of the potentiometer wire 10 meter long is 10 ohm. That means the length of the potentiometer wire is equal to 10 meter long and the resistance of the potentiometer wire is equal to 10 ohm. It is connected to EMF 12 volts. That means the EMF of the battery B is equal to 12 volts having a negligible internal resistance, that is R is equal to 0. Now it is connected through a 30 ohm resistor in series. That means the resistance of the rheostat is given as 30 ohms. So all the values in the primary circuit are given. A cell is balanced by 5 meter long potentiometer wire. That means this is the cell of EMF E, which is unknown for us. It is balanced for a length of 5 meters. That means the balancing length L is equal to 5 meters and we want to determine the EMF of the cell connected in the secondary circuit. Already we know that under the balancing conditions of the potentiometer, the EMF of the cell connected in the secondary circuit is given by E is equal to B by R plus P into P by L into L. So by substituting the values, we have 12 divided by 0 plus 30 plus 10 into 10 by 10 into 5. This is equal to 60 divided by 40, that is equal to 1.5 volts. Okay, in the first problem just potential gradient is required, whereas in the present problem, in addition to the potential gradient, apply the balancing condition of the potentiometer. By that we obtain the EMF of the cell connected in the secondary circuit. Sometimes this EMF may be given and the balancing length is required. For that also we use the same formula. Now come to the next one. A potentiometer having a wire of length 4 meter is connecting to the primary circuit containing a battery of 4 volts. A Lagrange cell gives a null point at 150 centimeter and a Daniell cell at a point of 125 centimeters. Compare the EMF of the two cells. Here actually the circuit is not given in the problem, just the problem is given in the examinations. For that problem, this is the circuit. This is the primary circuit and this is the secondary circuit. In the first case, what is given? A Lagrange cell is connected and it gives a balancing point at 150 centimeters. Let us assume that the EMF of the Lagrange cell for which the balancing length is 150 centimeters. And in the second case, a Daniell cell is connected and let us assume that E2 is the EMF of the Daniell cell and for that the balancing length is given by L2 is equal to 125 centimeters. So E1 is not given, E2 is not given, but the corresponding balancing lengths are given. We want to compare the EMF of the two cells. Already we know that whenever the two cells are connected separately in the secondary circuit and the balancing lengths are obtained, the ratio of the EMFs are given by E1 by E2 is equal to L1 by L2. From this, 150 divided by 125. So 25 6s, 25 5s, so that we have E1 by E2 is equal to 6 by 5, which is the ratio of the EMF of the two cells. So it is a straight problem. What is the EMF of the battery in the primary circuit? What is the series resistance value? What is the internal resistance value? No way they are connected to our problem. For the first cell, what is the balancing length? For the second cell, what is the balancing length? By using the two balancing lengths, we can compare the EMFs of the two cells. Right? Come to the another problem. A potentiometer wire is 100 centimeter long and a constant potential difference is maintained across it. Two cells A and B are connected in series. First, they are connected in series first and then in opposition. That means here the two cells are connected in series first and then in opposition. That means both the cells are connected at a time in the circuit. The balancing points were obtained at 60 centimeter and 12 centimeters. Find the ratio of the EMF of the two cells. So for the given problem, let us see the circuit diagrams. In the first case, both the cells are connecting in the series. In the additive nature, the resultant EMF is given by E1 plus E2. Further, the balancing length is given as L1 is equal to 60 centimeters. Okay? And then in the opposition, the balancing length is found to be 12 centimeters. That means when the resultant EMF is E1 minus E2, the balancing length is 12 centimeter for the second circuit. Now we want to find out E1 by E2 value. Already we studied the ratio of the EMFs in such cases, that is given by L1 plus L2 divided by L1 minus L2. Substitute L1, L2 values, it becomes 60 plus 12 divided by 60 minus 12. That is equal to 72 divided by 48. So you will get it as 6 by 4, that is equal to 3 by 2. That means 24 is the common factor. So 24 3s, 24 2s. So the ratio of the EMF of the two cells is 3 by 2. And see the next model. In a potentiometer experiment, it is found that no current passes through the galvanometer when the terminals of the cell connected across a 52 centimeters of the potentiometer wire. If the cell is shunted by a resistance of 5 ohms, the balancing point is found to be at 40 centimeter of the wire. The internal resistance of the cell is dash. For that, see the circuit diagram. In the first case, only the cell of EMF E is connected and the balancing length is obtained, and for only cell, the balancing length is L1 is equal to 52 centimeters. And when it is shunted by a resistance, the resistance value is given. That resistance value is R is equal to 5 ohms. R is equal to 5 ohms and the corresponding balancing length is given as L2 is equal to 40 centimeters. Okay? Now we want to determine the internal resistance of the cell. So in the concepts we studied that the internal resistance of the cell R is equal to capital R into L1 minus L2 divided by L2. This is equal to 40 into 52 minus 40 divided by 40. So this is 5. So this is equal to 5 into 12 divided by 40. So 4 3s, 4 10s. So 15 by 10, that is equal to 1.5 ohms. Okay. Sometimes in the same problem, L1, L2 values may not be given directly. It is given that L1 is equal to 560 centimeters in the first case. When the cell is shunted by a resistance R may be given. It is given that the balancing point shifts by 60 centimeters. That means delta L is given. Okay. For only this cell, the balancing length is 560 centimeters. When it is shunted by a resistance, the value is given. The balancing point shifts by 60 centimeters. What is meant by shifting? That may be shifting either towards right side or towards left side. Because of that, the balancing length may be increasing or decreasing. We may be confused. Which case to be taken? Remember, whenever the external resistance is connected across the cell, the terminal voltage of the cell is reduced. Because of that, the balancing point must be reduced. That's why whenever the shift in the balancing length is given, then the new balancing length L2 is equal to 560 minus 60, but should not add 60, then you will get it as 500 centimeters. By doing so, we have to find out L2 value. After getting L2 value, we can use the same formula, that is R is equal to capital R L1 minus L2 divided by L2. So this is the way of giving the problems in the potentiometer. So I am going to give you one problem as homework, which was given in the 2020 mains. So you see this problem and try to answer this. Okay. For that also, so we can use the same circuit, but in this problem, instead of giving the potential gradient value, the current passing through the circuit is given. So we know that the EMF of the secondary circuit E is equal to B by R plus P into P by L of L. So this entire term B by R plus P is nothing but the current, so that we can use the formula E is equal to I P L divided by L. So in this problem, so EMF is given, current is given, length of the wire is given, and balancing length is given, and we want to determine the resistance of the potentiometer wire. Do it for homework. I think you understand the concepts and the problems what I have explained in the today's session. So these are the few models which are in the standard of the previous mains and the NEET examinations. So by referring the books, you have to practice many more problems, then only you can crack the JEE mains examinations. Okay, thank you one and all.